Hey everyone, and welcome. If you're a language teacher, then you absolutely know the CEFR. Well, in this explainer, we are diving deep into its biggest update yet, the CEFR Companion Volume. We're going to break down exactly what it means for you and your classroom.
So, let's start with a big question, right? Think about it. The way our students talk, text, and work together has totally changed since 2001. So has the framework we use to measure all that progress actually kept up? Well, the Council of Europe asked that exact same question, and their answer is this brand new companion volume.
And that's our game plan for this breakdown. First, we'll get a handle on what this update is all about. Then, we'll explore the really exciting new areas of communication it opens up. After that, we'll look at how the core scales, the ones you use all the time, have been fine-tuned. And, most importantly, we'll wrap up with a practical guide for how you can bring all these changes right into your classroom. Okay, first things first, don't panic. Seriously, take a deep breath. This is not about throwing out the CEFR you already know. You should really think of the companion volume like a huge software update for your phone. It just builds on the original, makes the features way better, and gets it ready for today's world. It's an evolution, not a revolution.
All right, now we get to the really cool stuff. The companion volume brings in some brand new concepts that actually reflect how we communicate now. And these aren't just abstract ideas, they are powerful, practical new tools you can add to your teaching toolkit. Let's kick things off with a big one, mediation.
So, what on earth is mediation? Well, the simplest way to think about it is being a language bridge. It's when a student isn't just speaking or writing, but they're actively helping to connect people or ideas. This could be anything from explaining a complicated chart to a friend, to summarizing a video for someone who missed it, or even just bridging a cultural misunderstanding in a group chat.
And the framework really expands on this idea, way beyond just translation. We're now talking about mediating texts, mediating complex concepts, and even mediating the flow of a conversation itself. And get this, to back it all up, the companion volume gives us a whopping 19 new scales for mediation activities and 5 more for strategies. That is a ton of new ways to see and assess what our students can really do.
Next up, something we are all living every single day: online interaction. For the first time, the CEFR is formally recognizing all those complex skills needed to communicate in the digital world. We're talking about everything from a quick message in a chat to working together on a project in a shared document. It's a huge step forward that finally reflects our students' real lives. And to help us measure this, we get 2 fantastic new scales. The first one is all about online conversation and discussion. So think about your class forums or those lively debates over video call. The second one focuses on goal-oriented online work, like when your students team up in a shared doc to plan a presentation. Finally, right, the framework is catching up to the modern classroom. Oh, and this one is so important. These pluriconcepts are all about seeing a learner's entire identity not as some kind of problem to overcome, but as a valuable resource. It means we recognize that a student who speaks another language at home can actually use that knowledge to understand an English text better. It validates the whole student, valuing every single language and culture they bring with them. Okay, so let's move on. It's not just about adding new stuff. The companion volume also goes back and fine-tunes the scales we already use every day. And these little tweaks actually make the whole framework more precise, more accurate, and a whole lot more inclusive. And these changes are really smart. At the C2 level, they've softened some of the absolute statements, making it a more realistic goal. Phonology has been totally reworked to focus more on clear articulation and rhythm. And this one is huge. The term native speaker is completely gone from all the descriptors. That's a massive win for inclusivity. And lastly, those plus levels, like B1+, now have stronger descriptions, giving us a much clearer target for our intermediate learners. And there's one more fantastic addition, especially for those of you teaching absolute beginners. There is now an official pre-A1 level. This gives us a formal starting point with clear goals for learners who are at the very beginning of their language journey, on their way to A1.
So, we've gone through all the theory. Now, for the part that really matters, what does any of this actually look like in your classroom on a Monday morning? This is your practical guide to putting all these powerful updates into action.
So how do we actually teach mediation? Honestly, it's easier than you might think. Here are 3 super simple ideas. Number 1, summarize and relay. Just have your students explain a tricky article in their own words to a partner. 2, co-create. Put them in groups and have them create one single set of instructions together. 3, facilitate dialogue. In a debate,
Ask one student to find the common ground between two different arguments. See? These are all powerful mediation activities you can do tomorrow.
And what about online interaction? Check out this simple but amazing shift. The before is a classic activity we've all done, an individual writing task. But in the after, you just move that same task into a shared online document. All of a sudden, your students are using chat, they're leaving comments, they're co-authoring. Just like that, you're now assessing goal-oriented online collaboration with a tiny tweak to an activity you already use.
And if you want to truly embrace plurilingualism, the companion volume basically gives us official permission to value our students' home languages. This quote here is encouraging us to actually specify which languages are being used during an assessment. It's a direct call to stop pretending other languages aren't in the room, and instead to actively build on our students' entire linguistic repertoire.
So, let's wrap this up. What are the key things to remember? First, the CEFR isn't some dusty old book. It's a living document that's evolving with us. Second, you now have these powerful, ready-to-use scales for mediation and online interaction. Third, the whole framework is just better. It's more precise and more inclusive. And finally, you have new, official tools to value and use every single language your students bring into your classroom.
And that really just leaves us with one last thought. With all these new tools ready to go, mediation, online interaction, plurilingualism, the only question left is, which one are you going to bring into your classroom first? Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.